more thing to open. Okay, so here we're given, find the annual percentage yield. Bank offers 2.79% compounded monthly. What would that turn out to be? So it's always going to be a little bit more than the advertised interest rate, which is a good thing. All right, so we take our formula for APY right here. Okay, and we get, let's see, APY equals 1 plus, okay, the APR 0.0279 divided by 12. And then it's going to be 12 times 1 year. And the biggest thing on these is just knowing the order in which you have to do these. So that gets done first. Then the rest of the parentheses gets done second. And then you do the exponent third. And after each one, we're hitting enter. Okay. So let's see, 0.0279 divided by 12. Okay, then plus 1. And then exponent 12 times 1, which is just 12. And then subtract, whoops, I left one thing out here. Remember this, subtract 1. So we do that, fourth, and then that is your percent. Once, twice, 2.8, and that 2 would round to a 3. Okay, so you round at the very end. Okay. All right, now you're doing a compound, so use your compound interest formula, and as soon as I see this, I see the words continuously. Okay, so now I'm using the fourth formula down right here. So we're going to type in E, and then we're going to do that, and then we're going to do this. Quit, clear. Okay, so E is right above the division key. So I go second, divide, and then a little E shows up. Exponent. Times 7 times 5/3. 5,000. And number 10 is just like it. As soon as I see compound continuously, I know what formula to go to. Okay, so I'm using this formula right here again. Second, divide, it gives me my e exponent. Four times All right. Now, when I read this one, this is gonna be one of those where you gotta figure out what do you start with. So suppose you start saving for a $5,000 down payment. So this is your goal. Okay. This is what A is gonna equal. All right. And a plan to make and you got 2 years to do it. Assume that you make no deposits into the account after the initial deposit. The account has annual compounding, so that means N is 1, and the APR is 5%. How much would you need to deposit now? So this is the principal, which you don't know. All right, so since this is compounded and it's compounded annually, we're using this version of we got 3 compound interest formulas. One is, this is your annual one. This is when it's more than one time a year, and this one is for continuous. So we're gonna be using this because it says annual compounding. All right, so I plug in these values. Okay, but now I know what this is, but I don't know what P is. All right, so we do this first, then we do this second, and then we're going to divide both sides by this answer. But we leave it in our calculator. We don't want to round it yet. All right, so When I do that on my calculator, I got 1 plus 0.05, okay, to the second power. Okay, so I'll write it over here. Whoops, let's see, big. Okay, so now I got 5,000 equals P times, now a lot of times this is a much longer decimal. It's not too bad. Right? Now I'm gonna take both sides and divide it by that amount to get P all alone. Okay. So especially if this is a really long decimal, you just leave it there. So I'm going to go 5,000 divided by, and then I go second answer, and it takes that decimal, puts it under 5,000, and that's what I have to start with to get my goal. Okay, now here's another one. You want to have, it's the same type of problem, but different formula, slightly different formula. Okay, so you want to have 75,000. That's your goal. So that's what you want to end up with. That's A. Okay, the amount of time you have is 15 years. How much will you have to deposit now? Okay, so that is your principal. Okay, we don't know what it is. Okay, we know that our APR is 6%. And we know that our N is 12. So all I'm doing now, instead of using this top formula, I'm using this next one right here. And now we got to solve that for P. So first, second, third, and then when you're done, you're going to divide both sides by this value. So I'm going to write that over here. I'm going to end up with 75,000 equals P times whatever I get for that number. Alrighty. Clear. So 0.06 divided by 12. Okay, add 1. Exponent 12 times 15. Okay, now this is a really long decimal. So I'm gonna divide by that. I'm not gonna round it. I'm just writing it down here. So I've got it. Dot, 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 dot. Okay, now I'm dividing both sides by that long decimal. And then I'm going to round my answer. Okay, so instead of having to recopy this, this is when I use that second and then the answer key down here. Okay, so 75000 divided by second answer, and that's what I would have to start with. Okay, how much needs to be deposited today? So that's your beginning amount. Okay, that's your principal. Your goal is to have 25 grand. Your time is 8 years, and your APR is 6%, and it's annual. Okay, so which formula? The second or the third? The second formula right there, because it's annual and it's being compounded annually. Okay. And we're doing it for 8 years. And again, don't divide by the rounded number, because it's going to throw off your answer. Okay, 25,000 divided by second answer. All right, and now the last two are your log questions. So this last part is, how long will it take your money to triple? All right, so when I look at this, I want to know how long my money is going to take to triple. So I don't know how much I'm starting with. Okay, it doesn't say how much I'm starting with. So what I do is I'm going to use P, and I'm going to use 3P for A in my formula. Because 3 times that would make the money triple. All right, so it's being compounded annually. So that's going to be this formula right here, once a year. And so A equals P plus APR. Okay, so for A, I'm going to put in 3 times P. Plus 0.072, and now I don't know what y is. So what we did was, the first thing we did was we divided by P. And what that does is that the p's cancel out then. They cancel to 1. So now you only have one variable left. That's the whole point. Okay, this is now when you take the log of each side. So I'm going to do log both sides. So I'm going to have log 3 equals log . Okay, then what we did was the rules of logarithms allow you to take this exponent and move it to the front. Okay. So now my equation looks like this. Log 3 y times log 1.072. So to get this by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by that log. So let's see, log 3 divide log 2. And that's how long it would take. And it says round up, so you're always rounding up. So this would end up being 16 years. All right, and the last one is just like this one, except you know how much money you're starting with.
For the second part, is the log 1.079, right?
173 for, or the last problem, I think, unless I typed it in wrong, it was supposed to be 1.072. Oh, yeah, right. Yep. All right, so you got $2,000, so that's your P. That's how much you're starting with. Okay, here's your APR. Okay, compounded annually. How long will it take? So that tells you right there, you're going to be using logarithms to solve this. Your goal, your accumulated amount is 140,000. Okay, since it's being compounded annually, we're using the same formula again. So I plugged in what I was given. So okay, next step, log both sides. So I'm going to do the log, and I'm going to move y at the same time. So log 70, and I know I can move this y out in front, log 1.066. And then I'm going to divide both sides by the log 1.066. Whoops. Log 70, close the parentheses, divided by log, close the parentheses. And then round your answer up. Okay, guys, that's it. That's what your test is. It's got 10 questions, and they're going to be just like this. Yes.
Can you do another 7?
Can I redo 7?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, I'm trying to do it, but every time I do it, I get it wrong.
Okay.